My fiancée gave me 7 days to transfer part of my company to her parents. She called it family security. I didn't argue, didn't negotiate. I just made one call she never expected. The wedding didn't get postponed, it disappeared. If you enjoy real-life stories like this, subscribe to Voxa Tales. So this one came to me in a message last week from someone who uses the handle u/quietcalculator_88. They laid out the whole situation, and honestly, it's one of those stories that makes you wonder how people can be so bold with their demands. Anyway, I'm going to share it exactly how they told it to me. This is the story in their own words. I built my company from nothing, and I mean nothing. I started in my 20s with an idea, a laptop, and about $3,000 I'd saved up working 2 jobs. It took years of sleeping for hours a night, missing events, losing friends who thought I was obsessed. But I made it work. By the time I was in my mid-30s, my company was profitable, stable, and growing. I had employees. I had clients who trusted me. I had something I was genuinely proud of. That's around the time I met her. She worked in marketing for one of our vendors. We started talking at a conference, exchanged numbers, and within a few months, we were dating. She was smart, ambitious, put together. Her family seemed nice enough. Her dad was a retired professional. Her mom had worked in finance. They weren't struggling, but they weren't wealthy either. Comfortable, I'd say. We dated for 2 years before I proposed. And honestly, those 2 years were good. She supported my work, understood the demands of running a business, and seemed genuinely excited about building a future together. I thought I'd found someone who got it. Someone who understood what it took to build something real. We set a wedding date about 6 months out. Nothing huge, but nice. A venue, a good photographer, close family and friends. We started planning, and everything seemed fine, until her parents got involved. At first, it was small things. Her dad started asking questions about the business, how it was structured, what the revenue looked like, whether I had partners. I didn't think much of it. He'd worked in finance, so I figured he was just curious. I answered what I could without getting into specifics. I mean, it wasn't really his business, but I didn't want to be rude. Then her mom started making comments. Little suggestions about how we should protect the family once we were married. She'd say things like, "You never know what could happen," or, "It's smart to have things in writing." Again, I brushed it off. I thought she was talking about prenups or estate planning, which, fine. I'm not against protecting assets. But then my fiancée brought it up directly. We were at dinner one night, just the 2 of us, and she said her parents had been thinking about our future. She said they were worried that if something happened to me, if the business failed, or if I got sued, or if something went wrong, there wouldn't be any security for her or for them. I asked her what she meant by for them. She said her parents wanted to make sure they were taken care of, too, that they'd supported her, and by extension supported us, and it was only fair that they had some stake in what we were building together. I put my fork down. I asked her to clarify. She said her parents wanted me to transfer a portion of my company, 20%, into a trust for them. She said it was about family security, that it wasn't about control or money, just peace of mind. She said it would show that I was serious about being part of their family. I didn't yell. I didn't argue. I just sat there, trying to process what I was hearing. I asked her if she understood what she was asking. If she realized that 20% of my company wasn't just a number on paper, it was years of my life. My risk, my sacrifice. She said she understood, but that marriage was about sacrifice, about putting family first. I asked her why her parents needed a stake in my company to feel secure. They had their own retirement, their own savings. They weren't dependent on me. She got defensive, said I was being selfish, that I was making this about money when it was really about trust. She said if I really loved her, I'd do this without hesitation. And then she gave me a deadline. She said I had 7 days to make the transfer. She said her parents' attorney had already drafted the paperwork. All I had to do was sign. I looked at her, and I didn't recognize the person sitting across from me. I asked her what would happen if I didn't. She said we'd have to reconsider things. I went home that night and didn't sleep. I kept replaying the conversation, trying to figure out if I'd misunderstood. But I hadn't. She'd just threatened to call off our wedding unless I handed over a piece of my company to her parents. The next morning, I called my attorney. I explained the situation. He didn't seem surprised. Apparently, this kind of thing happens more than you'd think. He asked me what I wanted to do. I told him I wanted to protect myself. Completely. He walked me through my options. We reviewed the structure of my company, my assets, everything. And then he suggested something I hadn't considered. We could restructure the business in a way that would make any future transfer nearly impossible without my explicit, documented consent. It wouldn't affect operations, but it would lock down ownership in a way that no demand or pressure could touch. I told him to do it. It took 3 days. My attorney worked fast. By day 4, my company was restructured. Everything was airtight. If anyone tried to claim a stake without my consent, they'd hit a wall of legal protection that would take years and a fortune to even attempt to break through. On day 5, I called her. I told her I'd thought about what she said, that I understood her concerns, and that I'd made a decision. She sounded relieved. She said she knew I'd come around, that she was proud of me for putting family first. I didn't correct her. I just told her we should meet to talk in person. We met at the same restaurant where she'd made the demand. She brought the paperwork. I saw it sitting in a folder on the table when I sat down. She smiled at me. She said her parents were so happy, that this was going to be a fresh start for all of us. I let her finish, and then I spoke. I told her I wasn't signing anything, that I'd restructured my company in a way that made what she was asking legally impossible, that even if I wanted to, I couldn't transfer ownership the way she was demanding. Her face changed. The smile disappeared. She asked me what I was talking about. I explained, calmly, that I'd consulted with my attorney, that I'd taken steps to protect what I'd built, and that I wasn't going to be manipulated into giving up part of my life's work because of a threat. She said I was overreacting, that it wasn't a threat, that she was just trying to build security. I asked her why she needed my company to feel secure, why our marriage wasn't enough. She didn't have an answer. I want to stop here for a second because this is the part that still gets me. How do you look someone in the eye and demand a piece of what they built, something they sacrificed for, and call it love? How do you make that ask and not see how deeply insulting it is? I don't know. Maybe some of you have been in situations like this. Maybe you've had someone try to leverage your feelings to get something from you. What did you do? Because in that moment, I knew I couldn't marry her. I just knew. I told her the wedding was off. She started crying, said I was ruining everything, that I was being cruel, that her parents were going to be devastated. I told her I was sorry she felt that way, but that I wasn't going to start a marriage under coercion. She tried to backtrack, said maybe they didn't need 20%, maybe 10, maybe we could work something out. But I was done. I told her I'd handle canceling the venue and the vendors, that I'd take the financial hit. I just needed her to return the ring. She refused at first, but eventually, she took it off and put it on the table. I left the restaurant, and I didn't look back. The fallout was ugly. Her parents called me. Her dad actually threatened legal action, though I'm not sure what he thought he could sue me for. My attorney sent a very polite letter reminding them that there was no legal basis for any claim and that further harassment could result in its own consequences. They stopped calling. My fiancée sent a few texts over the next couple of weeks, apologizing, saying she'd made a mistake, that her parents had pressured her and she didn't know how to say no. But here's the thing, she didn't know how to say no. She just chose not to. She chose to threaten me instead. I didn't respond. A few months later, I heard through mutual contacts that she'd started dating someone else, someone older, someone with family money. I wasn't surprised. I don't think she ever loved me. I think she loved what I represented. Stability, success, business she could eventually benefit from. And when I wouldn't play along, I stopped being useful. It's been over a year now. I'm not dating anyone. I'm focused on my company, on myself, on rebuilding the trust one lost, not in other people, but in my own judgment. Because I ignored red flags. I saw the way her family operated, the way she deferred to them, the way money was always part of the conversation. And I convinced myself it didn't matter. But it did. I don't regret calling off the wedding. I regret not seeing it sooner. If you want more stories like this, follow and subscribe to Voxatales.